Welcome to episode 105 of the Various and Sundry podcast. I am your host, Matt Harmon, joined live from the Vault Studio on the beautiful campus of Grace College and Theological Seminary by my good friend, my colleague, my co-host, and the man who is well-rested and ready for a strong spring semester, John Scott Sloat.
Doc, what's up? It's 2022.
Yes. First episode of the brand new year.
Yeah, here we are. How was your vacation? Vacation quotes. Holiday season.
Holiday's better.
How was the holiday season?
Yeah. That was good. From the time that classes ended, there was about almost a 2 week, just short of 2 weeks before we left to go to Nebraska to hang out with my wife's family. We were out there for basically a week. Did Christmas out there.
Nice.
Very warm weather, unseasonably warm in Omaha.
What'd you have?
We're talking like 50s.
Okay.
Which in Omaha, you don't expect late December to be low 50s.
Truthfully, I don't know much about Nebraska.
It's cold.
Full stop. You know?
It's cold. So yeah, we had a good time. Did the traditional gift opening things. My sons are close in age to my brother-in-law and his wife's sons, and so they just have a blast hanging out.
Yeah.
We stayed at my in-laws' house, my father and mother-in-law, and they have a hot tub at their new house. So the boys were very excited about that and spent several nights hanging out in that. So that was fun.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. What about you?
Did about 2 weeks here in town before heading. Andrea and I flew to North Carolina to spend Christmas with my family, where I have a new niece, 4 months old, Lillian. That's all I'll say as far as her name here on the pod, I guess. Like any Christmas, she's the first baby I think that's been around, and so 75% of the presents were for her,
Yes.
and she cried halfway through and took a nap, and so we had to open her presents for her.
Well, expecting a 4-month-old to open them anyway seems
but she's a sloat. There's high expectations, high expectations.
okay.
So, but that was a lot of fun, and Durham was unseasonably warm, 70s.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is strange.
We went for walks outside.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Okay. Any gifts in particular that stood out to you from your Christmas experience?
Ooh. My brother got me a doorbell cam, which I have not had before. So I spent an afternoon when I was back installing a new doorbell cam on my front door.
That seems entirely up your alley. It's surprising to me, quite frankly, that you didn't have one before this.
Yeah. It's fun. You get little notifications on your phone like there's motion. Everybody's, you kind of freak out for a minute, and then you realize it's
just the UPS guy.
It's Amazon mostly. Yeah, coming to deliver things. I did get one. I woke up one morning and I check it every morning, and a couple days ago I had a 3:53 a.m. motion, and our camera points at like a wall, so it's not like it's picking up a car on the street or something like that.
Okay.
It points at a wall. So like, oh my goodness, what was it? Well, snow was whirling about in there, and it picked up that motion.
So a little sensitive, perhaps.
Yeah, which I can control. I can turn down the sensitivity on it.
Okay.
So, that was probably the gift that we've used the most, I'd say.
Okay.
So, how about yourself?
So, for me, Christmas is usually a big occasion in terms of books, picking up a lot of books, and clothes. So actually I'm wearing one right now. I'm wearing a new vest that I got, a thermal vest, which is appropriate given the temperature in the Vault Studio here.
The ice box.
Yeah. So
is that your first vest?
It is.
Okay. How do you feel about it?
Love it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. It takes some people some getting used to.
No, I'm a big fan.
Okay.
It was one of the few gifts. So I put this on my list, and I normally don't do this because I don't like to put pressure on my wife. But I did say, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be disappointed if I don't get a vest for Christmas. So I knew she'd come through. She always does. But so yeah, and I was excited to give my wife an Apple Watch.
Oh,
for
nice.
Christmas. Yes,
Very nice.
So fun to get her that. But we still have another week yet before classes.
Yeah,
get started here.
we're going to do another episode after this before classes get started.
Yeah,
Because they don't come back till what, the 12th?
that's right. That's right. And you're not teaching this semester.
No. This
Or
is
session. This session, I should
This
say.
session is a snow removal session. So I, wake up at 4 before my wife does and clear the driveway and do things like that so she can get to work. Or if it's too snowy, drive her to work at, before the sun wakes up.
And so, at what point are you going to find a sort of remote controlled snow removal snow blower kind of device? I mean, they have like the robot vacuums. They've got the robot mowers.
Yeah.
Have you looked for a
I have
robot?
not. No. That's interesting.
Snowblower
That's interesting. I
that
don't
you
know.
could control with an app.
That would be something.
That's right up your alley.
That is. That sounds like $1 million idea. That sounds like like something people would love.
Somebody's working on it.
Yeah.
Somebody's working on it.
They have the robot mops now. Have you seen these things?
I have, yeah.
The vacuums. I saw one that now has like a pet fecal matter sensor on it. Have you seen those horror videos, right?
Oh, yes.
Where the thing goes over the dog crap and spreads it all over the house,
Totally.
right? Yes, the new ones have a monitor on it to keep it from hitting the from spreading all this,
Right.
so it stops.
Yeah. Okay.
Basically,
What a world we live in.
it's a good world, you know.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and dive into the world of sports. It was a busy.
Did we do our intro stuff?
Oh, we didn't. See, I'm rusty.
Yeah, you're out of practice. We record 2 episodes in a row.
I know.
Here we are.
Getting my legs under me,
Well, if you'd like to get in touch with the show, we can be reached on Twitter at VNSPod. If you'd like to send us an email, which I do check, believe it or not, various and sundry podcast at gmail.com. We also have a Facebook page that Matt monitors, not me, because I've been removed from Facebook by hackers. And then we also are on YouTube, which, to be honest, I don't check. So I get emails when we get comments and things like that, which we have a few.
Yeah.
But that would be the easiest to monetize. If we were going to make money with this, we really need people to subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Sure.
Like maybe 1,000 of you.
Yeah.
That'd be really nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, and if you really like the show and really want to help us out, a 5-star review on any platform where you listen would be helpful.
That would be great. That might be a podcast first that you did the read. We're breaking all sorts of new ground here in 2022. So now, are we now able to?
Yeah, we can talk.
Would you like to just host the rest of the episode?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't dare step on your toes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start with college football. I think that seems to be the place to get going here. That's more up my wheelhouse. We'll definitely get to your Jets in a minute.
Yeah.
This is bowl season, so a lot of college football games. A handful, at least, of them were canceled because of COVID issues. So thankfully, that didn't affect the college football playoff games or any of the New Year's Six bowl games, which are considered like the most prestigious.
Big ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's start with what happened this past weekend. Did you watch any of the Rose Bowl?
No. I watched no Rose Bowl. I did watch both championship games.
The playoff games?
The playoff games for the first half of both.
You missed an amazing Rose Bowl game.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I followed it on Twitter a little bit.
Yeah.
Because both you and your son were freaking out a little bit.
I was tweeting a little bit in the first half about the historically terrible defense that Ohio State trotted out there. So,
and they had 24 players not in the game. Is that right?
Yeah, I forget what the number was, but they had – normally schools have 80 scholarship rostered players for a bowl game. Ohio State had 61, so they were down a good number. and they didn't have. I think it was a total of like 5 or 6 starters on both sides of the ball. So
getting ready for the draft, those sorts of things, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
how do you feel about that? Are you for that? Against that? You understand it but don't like it?
Well, sure. Selfishly, as a fan, I want to see him play.
Sure.
But it to me, anyone who complains about players doing that is being exactly that, selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that you have to understand is the risk that those players are putting themselves in for that last game.
Yep.
And it came up in the it was in the Sugar Bowl. Ole Miss's quarterback Matt Corral, or Coral, I can't remember how his last name, projected to be a first-round quarterback draft pick this year. Decided to come back and play his bowl game because he loves his school, which is great.
Sure.
If he wants to make that choice, great. Left the game when a guy rolled up on him. They're not. I haven't seen a report whether they're sure he broke his ankle or just has a bad ankle sprain. But came back out halfway through the game on crutches on the sideline.
You hate to see that.
You hope that it doesn't cost him millions of dollars because of that. So I have no problem with players opting out for that.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of the game today, and you're
talking life-changing money.
Yeah,
potentially. Yeah.
And where are the people crushing the coaches? Like Brian Kelly from Notre Dame, he left his team.
Oh yeah.
To go take a job at LSU.
Oh yeah.
Now, people were crushing him, so fair enough. But Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma left to take the job at USC. But no one is like, you hate the game. No. They just realize you're making a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well that's what the players are doing.
Yeah.
So I have no issue with that whatsoever. Anyway, the Rose Bowl will probably go down as one of the 10 most exciting Ohio State football games I've seen in my lifetime.
Wow. Okay.
But only because we won. Because the start was terrible. We were down 35-21 at the half.
To Utah, right?
Utah.
You're playing Utah.
And so Utah was everything going in pointed towards Utah. This was like Utah's most significant bowl game they've ever played in. So they're like high motivation.
Yeah,
everybody's
they're
all
jazzed
in.
Up.
Ohio State's like, well, we lost to the team up north. We're not playing in the college football playoff. Guys are opting out. So you honestly wondered, would they be motivated to play?
Yeah.
And the first quarter or so looked like that was a fair assessment. So they're down 35-21 at the half. They came back and rallied and won 48-45 on a last-second field goal. But perhaps most notably, their quarterback, C.J. Stroud, threw for 573 yards and 6 touchdowns. And so for the game, though, the receivers, their two best receivers, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, both projected to be first-round NFL draft picks this year, sat out.
Yeah.
So
one of them might end up on the Jets, by the way.
We'll see.
Which I know doesn't make you happy.
No, it doesn't. So their actual leading receiver by numbers, it was their third receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Yeah, I saw about him on Twitter. A lot about him on Twitter.
Well, when you catch 15 balls for 347 yards,
I saw this
and
stat.
3 touchdowns.
That's wild. Absolutely wild.
You're going to get talked about.
Those are good quarterback numbers.
Those are numbers that you see if you're playing Madden. You know what I mean? That's like video game numbers.
Yep.
It's the most yardage in any bowl game in college football history.
Yeah.
So just a breakout game for him in the sense of being on the national stage. So
college football playoff games.
Yes.
Pretty boring.
Yes. Georgia put it to Michigan and Bama.
I thought Cincinnati played well.
That game was more of the slow strangle.
Yes.
It wasn't – Georgia jumped out all over Michigan, and it was this game's over pretty quick. Bama just looked like they had like the slowly tightening grip around Cincinnati's neck that they could never escape.
Yeah, like they're the python surrounding its victim. Yeah.
So that sets up an SEC national championship game, which nobody wants except for people in the South. And I will just point out for our Notre Dame contingent, they blew a 28-7 lead against Oklahoma State and lost the Fiesta Bowl. So,
ouch.
And guess who they open the season with next year?
I have no idea.
Ohio State.
Really?
Ohio State, Notre Dame open the season next year.
Columbus or South Bend?
I think this one's in Columbus. They're doing a home and home, so I forget which. I'm pretty sure, though, this upcoming year is in Columbus.
That'll be good.
Yeah. So right out of the gate, big game. Let's talk NFL. I thought your Jets were going to do it.
Well, we were texting towards the end of that game. If you remember, I almost said something to you as we're texting, but I didn't. And
I almost said something to you because, but I didn't want to jinx it. And
in my mind, it was I think the best possible outcome.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, your young players all played well in that game for the Jets, including your young quarterback.
Yeah.
However, you improve your draft position. You have a good game against a good team, and you were competitive to the bitter end.
Okay.
But our draft position remains the same.
Now, I'm assuming you didn't get to watch the game. You were probably just following it on your phone, right?
On my phone, yep.
Okay. Because the most notable story to come out of that had nothing to do with the Jets.
I was flipping back and forth between that and beat writer I follow on Twitter, and he was tweeting about Antonio Brown.
Yeah, tell the audience what happened with good old AB.
Yeah, well, last week I think he had a phenomenal game, something like 10 catches or something like that. This week he wasn't playing as well, and was told to go in the game I think twice by Bruce Arians, the coach.
Yeah,
refused, and so Bruce Arians benched him.
Yeah.
Which it kind of sounds like he benched himself a little bit.
Yes.
So he proceeds to take off his jersey, pads, gloves, through his
undershirt,
and threw his sweaty undershirt into the crowd, and walked off the field waving at fans, half naked.
Yes, and kind of like did it dancing in like the end zone a little bit.
Yes,
like walking like not even just on the sidelines, but like onto the field of play.
Yes.
What a clown.
And my understanding is they escorted him to the airport and he left town.
Yeah. No longer a member of the team.
As Bruce Arians said. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the most epic meltdowns.
It was like strike what, 4, 5?
Yeah.
I mean, he's running out of he'll never be on a roster, right?
I wouldn't think so.
But he's very, very talented.
Yeah, but
he's also getting up there.
Yeah. He's just not worth it.
But the game, the Jets. I thought the Jets played really well. I thought Zach Wilson played really well. You saw our rookie running back who got injured in the first half, but broke off early a 45, 55-yard run, something like that. Two young cornerbacks. One had an interception. The other played very well. We have a corner turned safety who's also a rookie, who is just playing lights out or playing very, very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see. You know, you want to see your young guys do well if you're going to be a bad team and to have some fight. So, and they had a chance to win it at the end.
Yes.
So that was very exciting to me.
Yes. Well, we should probably move on to our main topic for the day.
That sounds good.
Okay. Yeah. So, since it is the first episode of 2022, we thought we'd talk about some goals for the upcoming year. Not resolutions, goals. So, we'll just kind of see where this goes.
Our goals.
Yeah. You want to get us started with you want to keep the breakdown here? We've got personal, spiritual, and professional. Was there a category you wanted to add, by the way?
Maybe podcasts.
Okay, sure.
I don't know. We're going to make that one up on the fly.
Sure.
You know. Personal goal. I just want to run more.
Okay.
That's This last year has been very consistent with lifting at the gym for the most part.
Okay.
Over Christmas break, there's a bit of a pause as well as summer break. It's a little tough to get in there when I'm not on campus every single day, doing some traveling, stuff like that. I need some more cardio in my life. So running, I think, is going to be a goal for me.
Do you have any baseline we're working with? Are you doing any at all at this point?
I do a little bit. Okay. I think I ran 2 miles yesterday. So, it's not nothing, but it's not a lot.
So the goal is increase frequency and distance as well?
Frequency and probably distance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looking to do any 5Ks?
No. I hate the idea of forced running.
Aren't you forcing yourself to run?
It just reminds me of like practice when I was a kid, and oh my goodness, I hated running. So, yeah. So, but I'm just trying not to die. That's kind of
And how do you feel about running on a treadmill? Because realistically, that's kind of your option. I guess you can run the track in the G-Hawk.
Yeah, we have a treadmill at home.
Okay.
So, I did about 2 miles on that yesterday. So, yeah, trying to run a little bit more. I'm pretty good about lifting and working out, but not the cardio. So, trying to get that cardio in place.
Gotcha. Well, in a similar vein, I need to get a little bit more consistent on the exercise front myself. But I've reached the stage where my knees can no longer handle running. Just the impact is just too much when it comes to that.
So what are you switching
since
to?
I have no cartilage in my left knee. Like there's like none left.
So you're going biking, or what's the?
So I'm moving on to cycling.
Okay.
So
like road cycling?
No, just on the exercise bike.
Okay.
So
how many Pelotons do you own at this moment?
0.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not a wealthy man, John. So yeah, we're gonna go with the cycling as a running substitute.
Okay. Now on a like exercise bike, or are you going to get? Because I've seen those bikes where they you put your back wheel up on spokes or something, and you can bike on a road bike.
Yeah, it's an exercise bike.
Okay.
So
you have one at the house?
No.
Okay.
But I live 3 minutes from the Y, so I can do that there. And so I've started kind of dipping my toe into that pond, but need to get more consistent on that. It's also probably a little better for my back in some ways. So that's the goal there.
Any weightlifting in your life? Or?
I'd like to start sprinkling some of that in.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't want to get too jacked, though. I mean, come on. The other personal goal I had down here was just trying to do some more reading.
Yeah. Do you feel like this was a down year for you,
I think
2021?
It was, yeah. And more so on more reading in my discipline, like biblical theology, New Testament kind of stuff. I feel like I read less this year than I have in past years.
Okay.
I feel like I've read a lot of sort of leisure reading, sort of mystery novels, that kind of stuff, but not as much on the kind of academic side of things. So need to step it up a little bit.
How many books a year? Like, what's the benchmark? It's hard to say with academic books.
It is because they vary so widely. I don't know. I mean, I think a good normal year would probably be around 50.
That's a lot of books.
It is. Again, though, those are read at varying levels, though.
And that's part of your work.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, that could fall under professional as well.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
So need to step it up a little bit on the reading.
First book of the year. Have you finished your first book of the year? Or have you started your first book?
I've started one, yes.
What is it?
It is God's Messiah in the Old Testament by Andy Abernethy and Greg Goswell.
Okay.
I'm a little ways into it.
Okay.
So I finished some stuff in December. I finished the Who Shall Ascend to the Mountain of the Lord by Michael Morales. Finished that.
Okay.
So that was good.
Best book of 2021?
Oh, gosh.
Sorry, I sprung that on you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to get caught up in the recency bias there, but the one that I just finished on Leviticus is certainly up there. it wasn't the easiest of reads, but it's the book I probably learned the most from all year. So I'll go with that.
All right.
So do you have a book that pops into your head for best one that you read?
Oh, my goodness. Probably the one that morphed my thinking and how I taught church history was After Acts, which I think you recommended to me.
Yeah.
That was very good. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Fills in that gap
After
the New Testament and before you get to some of the church fathers.
Well, and I did a whole – I probably did 45 minutes in class on like here's what happened to these guys after the Scripture ends. And that was a really impactful moment. Yeah. And I even talked – because at the end of that, each chapter they do like a letter grade on the likelihood that this happened to this guy.
Right.
And I mentioned this book to my students. They're like, what was the letter grade on this? You know?
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Let's move on to spiritual goals.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I need to freshen up my Hebrew. So I used to be somewhat consistent in trying to read some Hebrew probably 4 or 5 days a week.
I remember being in Israel with you and you pulling out Genesis.
So yeah, trying to refresh that a little bit. And so what I'm doing in essence is resuming. I'd started working my way through the Psalms, probably reading anywhere between 4 to 7 verses in Hebrew a day. That just kind of fell off, so I'm kind of picking that back up. So I just finished Psalm 109 this morning.
Okay.
So it would seem reasonable that if I keep up with this, I should be able to finish the Psalms this year.
And do you read Greek every day as well?
I actually don't because I teach it. I'm writing a commentary on the Greek text of Luke.
You get enough Greek.
I mean, I can always get better for sure. But that just feels like something that is not as urgent given how much I'm in the Greek text all the time.
Yeah.
So what about you?
I am in the midst of translating through 1 Corinthians, so I want to continue that both for the Greek side of it and just devotionally working my way through 1 Corinthians. So translating a few verses every day, going through sort of like genitives, datives, all those things.
And how far in are you?
I'm in chapter 1. So I started
early. Okay.
Yeah, I started late December. So.
Okay. Gotcha. Good deal.
So yeah, that's been refreshing and fun.
And 1 Corinthians is doable level Greek.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest book in the New Testament, not the hardest book in the New Testament. It's kind of in that middle ground of.
Yeah. So I downloaded and I haven't set this up yet. I probably should, but Bible Vocab Plus. They key a bunch of different textbooks that you can pull up, get their vocab list or whatever, in both Greek and Hebrew. And the other thing that they do that's really cool is you can pick books of the Bible and set up a vocab list through that, and that's really, really handy and
nice.
and it'll be good.
Yes, good stuff. And then I'll just add just more consistency in prayer.
Yeah.
Can you ever pray too much?
I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so. So, just need to find some more focused time to do that. Let's move on to professional goals.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Yeah, this is a weird one for me because normally I think I'd probably go just kind of keep on doing what I'm doing. It's kind of keep trying to make my program run better, more smoothly, get more students, those sorts of things. But I think something that I'm in the throes of exploring probably again is PhD. Whether this is for me or not, whether this is something I want to step into. And I don't want to get into it on pod, but there's like a million other things that are going to play into that.
Sure.
One of the things that I have it sitting on my shelf. I think I'd have to pick up a Latin, to not get in, but to complete.
If you're going to do church history, probably.
And that would be the plan. And so I have Wheelock's grammar sitting on my shelf.
It's a classic.
As well as his workbook or a workbook that goes with it.
Okay.
So that's on my shelf and it's staring at me currently.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
we'll see what happens in
Yeah.
the year of the triple twos.
Latin should not be that difficult for you, given the fact
You don't think so?
No, because you teach Greek.
Do you know Latin, or did you take Latin in high
I took
school?
Latin in high school. My retention of it has not been great, but it's something that if I spent a month of focused effort to get it back, I think it could be up and running.
So is there something like Logos or BibleWorks for Latin? Like could I go find Cicero or something like that and find the morphology? Because I was looking on the internet, I couldn't find anything, but maybe I'm typing in the wrong words.
I wonder if in Logos they have morphologically tagged Latin texts. I'd be surprised if they don't have some.
Yeah,
Did you look?
I looked briefly. I did not spend a lot. I was on my phone typing it in, but I'll have to do a deeper dive.
Yeah, I would Google that and see what comes up. A little deeper dive into maybe some of their forums. You might be able to find it.
So yeah, that's something that's horrifying yet exciting, potentially in 2022. It's being explored.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, for me, my professional goals almost always revolve around writing projects.
Yeah.
So I've got two main projects I'm working on, focusing on this year. One is continuing the Luke commentary.
That one's just going to be in your life for a while.
It is. It is. I'm about halfway through chapter 11.
On your first pass, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the other one is, this might sound strange, but I'm actually writing another Galatians commentary.
Right after your last one came out.
Yes. But this one has a very specific focus. It's in the Exegetical Guide to the Greek New Testament series, which is basically it's a grammatical commentary. Like you literally comment on every word in the text in terms of its grammar and its function and that sort of stuff.
Probably not when we're doing an interview on the pod.
I wouldn't think so necessarily. And I mean, there's more to it than that. There are and there's also like bibliographical help in terms of like if you're interested in this, go look at this kind of like. So it's more than just that, and it has homiletical helps for preachers and that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's not going to be a popular level kind of book, but it could be. It'll be the kind of thing that'll be helpful for Greek students as well as pastors who want to preach and teach from Galatians.
Yeah.
So, and then I might be done with Galatians after this.
I'll believe it when I see it.
We'll see. So, anything else on the on the goals front here, John?
I don't think so. I struggled with this. I don't like setting goals. My desires change throughout the year, and it'll be like, I don't want to do that. I want to do this or stuff like that. So,
yeah, I find myself holding these loosely. That's better for my sanity.
Yeah.
Than to get too worked up about, not hitting them if I end up not hitting them. But in any case, let's move on to this day in sports history.
Okay. January 4th. January 4th. You want me to go through these?
Go for it.
In 1986, David Robinson blocks 14 shots in a game at the college level.
Yes, he played for the Naval Academy. Did you remember that? He played for the Naval Academy?
Yes. I remember they did a special on him because he was on a submarine for a time.
You fit a 7-foot man on a submarine.
Yeah, I think he didn't exactly fit.
Yeah. Did I tell you? I met David Robinson?
Really? Where did you meet him?
At a hotel in Indianapolis.
Okay.
When he was playing for the Spurs. I was at a hotel for a conference in Indianapolis with Campus Crusade, and the Spurs were in town to play the Pacers, and they stayed at the hotel that we were staying at.
Oh, cool.
So I met him in the lobby.
He always seemed like a nice guy.
He is. He seems like a solid believer, and it's just an experience standing next to a 7-foot tall man. You feel very small.
Yeah.
So, in any case, what's our next one?
In 2000, oh gosh, a day after accepting the head coaching position at the New York Jets, Bill Belichick resigns and moves to the New England Patriots.
Okay, so when that happened, you were what, like 9, 10, 12? Okay.
Yeah, I'm 88. So.
Okay. So
I don't really have much recollection of this.
You don't?
No.
Okay. So now you're only able to look back at it with deep bitterness.
Yes. I would say I started paying attention to football in probably 98. Like I remember Brett Favre and the Packers. I guess I was 96. Brett Favre and the Packers. And then Elway was 97, 98.
Okay.
I remember 98 and Bill Parcells doing well with the Jets and losing to the Broncos in the AFC Championship game. After that, I think I lost track a little bit.
So you don't remember if your dad was worked up about this or?
Nope, I don't.
Okay, and you were living in?
Oh goodness, 2000. I would have been in
Tennessee.
Yes, Tennessee in the 6th grade.
Okay, so maybe that helped in one sense of like if you were still in New York, for example, at that point.
I would have.
Like,
I'm sure I would have
been immersed
known
in the media culture and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But.
And it was short because I remember New Year's that year, but I don't remember. And I think that was also that would have been later that summer when the Summer Olympics, Sydney, were going. No, that was 2002.
No, summer would have been in 2000 because that's on the 4s still.
Would that have been
on the 2000, 2004, 2008?
Would that have been Sydney 2000? I think so.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes. What might have been?
Yeah. Anyway, 2001, Washington Wizards forward Michael Jordan becomes the 4th player in NBA history to score 30,000 career points. He hits a free throw in the second quarter of an 89-83 win against the Chicago Bulls, his old team.
Yeah.
Also, 89-83 win looks like a typo for an NBA game.
Nowadays, yeah.
Yeah,
they've definitely between rule changes and the prevalence of the three-point shot now, you rarely see a game. It's not common to see a game under 100 these days much anymore.
2006 college football, the 8th BCS National Championship. Number 2 Texas beats number 1 USC 41-38 with I believe Vince Young as the quarterback of Texas.
Yeah, you can make the case that that's one of the greatest college football games ever played.
And on the other side was Matt Leinart.
That was the Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
Was it Rondale Moore? They had another running back because between the two of them, they called him Thunder and Lightning. Like Reggie Bush, the fast guy, Lightning. Rondale Moore was the bruising running back. But Vince Young was the transcendent talent in that game, leading Texas down the field for the game-winning touchdown, scored with like 6 seconds left or something like that.
Yeah, and Texas has just not been any good really since.
Well, actually, they got back to the national championship in like 2010, I think it was.
Did they really?
Colt McCoy, 2010, 2011. And I'm pretty sure it was Colt McCoy. He got hurt in like the first quarter of the championship game, and Alabama just destroyed him.
Yeah.
So since then, they've been garbage. But now that they're paying players openly, maybe they'll turn it around.
Yeah, because they got a lot of money down there in Texas.
A lot of oil money down there. So, yes. Do you have a preference?
Oh goodness. Probably the last one there, the 06 college football championship.
Yeah, I can go with that.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to.
Yeah, let's not. Let's not. Just don't.
Don't want to open those wounds too far.
Yeah.
One thing you liked?
During the school year and during the summers, I don't watch a ton of sports documentaries, but was able to do so over Christmas break. Came across Once Upon a Time in Queens, the 4-part series, 30 for 30. It's got language.
Okay.
That sort of I'll throw that out there. It's got a lot of language. but it's about the 1986 Mets and how good they were at baseball and bad at being humans.
Yes.
They were.
Yeah, Darryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden. Yeah, they're
Keith Hernandez, Lenny Dykstra, all those guys.
Jesse Orozco, the left-handed closer.
There were some redeemable guys on that team, though. Gary Carter, other than being a guy that sought the spotlight a ton, seems like a good guy. Mookie Wilson also seems like a very good guy.
Yeah.
That was about it, though.
Speaking of sports documentaries, did you watch the Madden one?
I have not.
I
saw that on Hulu. Yeah.
And then he died.
Yeah.
Like, they released on Christmas Day, and then he died, 2 days later? 2 or 3 days after Christmas? Yeah. So that's something I want to check out here. For me, I'm going to go with the audiobook that I listened to on the trip out and back to Omaha. It was Gordon Carrera, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Okay.
The book is entitled Russians Among Us, Sleeper Cells, Ghost Stories, and the Hunt for Putin's Spies. Fascinating. Fascinating stuff. Because it's true. It's just true story. How the U.S. discovered these, the Russians called them illegals, but these long-term deep cover spies that the Soviet Union sent into the U.S.
Wild. Where
they basically stole people's identities and sent them into the U.S. and they lived as Americans. And they were tasked with finding out information and other stuff like that. But it all blew up in 2010 when and you might remember this news story. There were, a lot of the attention went to there was this redheaded woman who was attractive, who was all the rage in terms of this was a Russian spy sent to the okay. Well, some of the lesser known stories were there was a couple that had teenage kids. These kids had no idea their parents were Russian spies. They thought mom and dad are just Americans. Well, when they deported them, the kids had to go with them. So imagine you're a junior high kid.
Goodness
you come
gracious.
home and the FBI is like, sorry, kid, your parents are Russian spies. Pack a bag. You're leaving the country. How utterly unsettling that would be to you. So fascinating stuff.
That sounds like that TV show.
The Americans?
The Americans, yeah.
Have you seen that?
I've watched a few episodes, yeah.
It's really good. Now, there is it's in the audiobook, there's the occasional language. So there's your warning on that.
Russian,
of course. Right, of course. But basically that series was inspired by this story.
Wild.
Fascinating stuff. So that's right up my alley. So I highly recommend it if you're into that kind of stuff. Well, episode 105 in the books, John. First episode of 2022. Are we ready to reveal what we're talking about next week?
Sure.
You don't remember
I
what
have
we're talking about.
clue. I know we have one topic out there.
That's the topic.
Okay. Well, go ahead and
announce it. That's on the calendar
it.
for next week.
Okay, go ahead and announce it.
Next episode, we are going to talk sort of reflections on the conclusion of the Rise and Fall of Mars Hill podcast.
That's what I was thinking of.
Now that it's completed, it's done. I think they said there might be a bonus episode here or there, but it's
the main story's done.
It's done. So I know we talked about it very initially as the podcast started. Maybe there were a couple episodes out when we first talked about it, but now that it's been completed, I think it'll be good for us to reflect on that a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's what's coming up next episode. But for now, mission accomplished?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. We've talked lots of sports, some goals for the new year. We've relived John's painful memory of Bill Belichick leaving the Jets to coach the Patriots. And we've talked about some books and documentaries and...
Oh, we didn't do podcast goals.
We didn't do podcast goals.
We added that. Oh, not really.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, I think we're good then.
Just to keep doing it.
Yeah, that's good enough. So, in any case, at this point, all that's left to say is until next time, the Lord bless y'all real good.
Later.